I've got some questions for you. This one is, drum roll, living with your partner before marriage. So, Julia,
Yeah.
do you think living together changes your relationship for better or for worse?
I feel like it's depends on the partner,
That's
right?
a very savory answer.
My personal experience, it does change your relationship, but I think if it's with people that are willing um to like grow
Mm,
with you, then that's different. It changes your relationship for the better because then you know
mm-hmm,
like each other's triggers and you know what the other person likes and dislikes, and it's not that you need to tiptoe about around them, but it's like being considerate of them.
mm-hmm.
And I think it makes your relationship stronger. So
But do you think it's better before marriage?
100%.
Okay.
100%. Like, because who do you know?
That scares me. I don't know how people go into, and I know it's been
It's
the
a common
norm,
thing, yeah.
but it's so scary to go into a marriage when you haven't lived with someone. That's just my personal
I
opinion or
agree.
how I feel.
I agree.
Because living with someone and
Mm.
experiencing them outside of living with them
It's totally different.
is totally different. And I feel to like sign your life away and not know what people might have in the closet. And you might think you know what your partner is like. Yeah, a cute holiday, they're gonna be like on their best behavior. But when you are actually doing the mundane things together,
Like going to work,
yes, shopping,
who's
dealing,
doing laundry,
yes,
who's cooking.
yes, that's when another side
100%.
to a person comes out.
100%.
So I think, in my opinion, if I had to answer that question,
Yes.
I would say it's for the better.
Yeah.
But it may lead to you then saying, look,
That's my thing. That's what I'm saying. It's
can't.
dependent. Like if your partner is choosing to also be conscientious of you
Yes.
and like your triggers and is self-aware, knowing that, okay, this may be a bit of a toxic trait that I have, and like wanting to do better and show up better, then it's amazing because then when you get married, you already have things and tools figured out.
Yes.
But if you have someone that's like pig-headed or doesn't see like your perspective, it could end your
Yes.
relationship.
Yes. And it's better to end a relationship than a marriage
yeah.
when you have then kids involved. But I know traditionally that's not what is allowed. But do you have a view on that? Because I know a lot of the times it's like people feel it's to protect the woman,
Okay.
but is it really? Because it's like security, you have a man. Because now it's like the roles have changed completely, where women are independent, we can buy our own, we can hold our own. So that protection, sort of, you need a man to protect you,
It's
is outdated, very outdated. So how does it benefit us?
Ooh. Speaking from personal experience, I think it was the biggest blessing and opportunity that I got for myself to live with my partner before marriage. Not just for our relationship, but for myself. Because through like listening to self-development and self-awareness and in your healing journey, you realize that you attract a partner that ultimately triggers you.
Yes.
So your partner becomes your biggest teacher.
Yes.
And if you're self-aware enough to say like, oh, he just asked me this simple thing, why am I reacting in such a outlandish way.
Yes.
And then you sit with yourself and be like, oh, maybe it's this or it's that, and then do better. So for me, it's been a blessing to live with my partner before marriage. I think there's a lot of self awareness that I have for myself now. A lot of toxic things that I used that I do that I'm now more aware of. So for me, it's been one of the biggest blessings, and I think our foundation was already there,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe like our conflict resolution, because we have different ways of managing it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think we have such great tools to carry with us into a marriage. And so that first year well, I always hear that the first year of marriage is difficult. And I put it down to the fact that the first year is you living with the person 24/7.
Yes.
So now that we have that out the way,
The way.
I'm hoping it would be
Yes.
like a breeze and you'd be able to enjoy your marriage. And also, I think you should want to be the best version of yourself
Mm-hmm.
for your partner, and your
Mm-hmm.
partner should also want to be the best version of themselves for you.
Mm-hmm.
And a really nice analogy that I like is that you both have like built houses that you've come from like your community, your family, your experiences, whatever it may be. Some of the bricks are like really perfect, some of the bricks are chipped, some of the bricks are whatever. And it's about when living with a person, you decide like what are the best bricks that we need to
Yes.
build a solid foundation and show up as like the best versions of ourselves, for each other, and then ultimately as you become parents. So yeah, I really rate living with a person before. I don't know how people are that bold or brave to jump into an entire marriage without.
Living with your partner
Yes,
first? No, I fully agree.
because I wouldn't.
I think it's something that should be done.
Mm,
Um, for both positive, but also for you to see the negative
mm,
side of things. Because have you seen like your partner come home tired from a rough day at
mm.
work, or what are they like when they're angry?
That's a big one.
How do they deal with the situation when you are there and they're angry? Because that's where a lot of people might not see abusive traits
Yes,
and tendencies
yes,
come through. And then you're married and you're stuck, and now you're like, this is my person.
yes.
And you tend to stick through that
Mm,
if it's a
mm,
marriage. Um, I really like what you said
mm,
about the house thing, because I feel like from our parents and our
mm,
grandparents or whoever, we bring both or some of their positive traits and also their negative traits. Because I think that's something that I learned as
mm,
well, is that we grow up thinking that like our parents or grandparents
mm.
are like these
Idols,
idols or
yeah.
like these gods for
Mm.
us. Because yes, we learn so much, but as
Mm.
you grow, you start to realize that your parents are actually just human.
Human. And they
And
figuring it out.
yes, they're
Yeah.
figuring it out at every age as
Mm,
well. And they are also allowed to make mistakes
mm,
along the way. And I know that I bring like my mom, okay. I tell her she's a mom. I tell her
sorry, mom.
she's OCD. Because my mom is like, if the cup is like, she's like, let me turn it like this. So why didn't you do it like this? So now,
We used to be like
yeah. So I'm like, Mom, can you just take a chill pill, like relax, chill latte,
that.
your latte is what I tell her, because I'm like, dude, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
But then when you're in your own home,
Home. Mm.
I'm like, oh, Mom, I get it. I know why you hid all the dishes, the nice ones for the visitors, because everyone breaks shit. I can't keep a set of
Oh my
anything because
God.
everything is a pet peeve. It gets broken. So I have one pink cup, one
Oh
blue
my
cup,
God. I would
one.
die.
And
I
then
would
I'm like,
actually
do I really
die.
want to spend my money investing in more?
For it
Like,
to be broken again.
yes. And then you're like, look, just gonna put it away. keep all the ratchet stuff. But when we have friends and visitors over, they can see that we have all these lovely plates, forks, and whatever else. But I know also how frustrating that can be for a partner because they might not have had
The same.
the same upbringing and not like realize it.
I'm like that. I get overstimulated in an untidy environment. And my poor partner has faced the brunt of it a number of times. Like if I wash dishes, it's like, why are you banging the dishes and washing them?
No, but I can't. Don't
Because I
bang.
get like irritated. Unconsciously sometimes as well. Like I'm not even irritated, but he like is already on edge, which I feel really bad that I've done that to him.
Yeah.
But it's just me being overstimulated, and it's also me coming from a mum. Sorry, mum, number 2.
Oh gosh.
That you're just brought up in a particular way, and you want things to function like that in your home.
Yes.
And obviously, the older I get, the more I realize, like, oh my God, I am my mother's child. I am my mother. So I think it's about having some sort of compromise with your partner, because I've learned to let certain things go. Like, it's not that serious.
I mean, it is to you, but that's where compromise comes in.
No, but
right?
It's not that serious, Priyanka. In like the greatest scheme of things, to have a full-blown argument over not doing dishes.
Yeah.
It's just not
worth it. That is true.
It's not worth it, because it adds such a different pressure to your relationship that when you actually have a fight of like for something meaningful or worthwhile, you are already like so deflated because you had a million other fights over, oh, why did you hang the towel this way? Why didn't you didn't take out the trash when I asked you to? You didn't wipe the bin the way I want. Like,
but it's the little things that we tend to fight the most about or argue. I would say argue. It's not really fighting. But that can like change an entire mood. But what I've also picked up is that if I get irritated or pissed off, I can't remove myself from that situation. Like I'm like, I am irritated. We need to talk about this, or we need to solve it, or we need to because I can't. And even if I try to calm myself down, it's like I need to have like an hour in that like rage or...
An hour?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I cannot dissociate myself with what's happened. And I need to process before I'm like, okay, I'm fine now. And sometimes I want to talk, and then I'll have a situation where my partner will be like, I need space. Let me take a walk. I'll cool off, whatever. And then they come back and then they're fine. And I'm like, I am not fine. You did your walk.
Yes.
You dealt with yourself. Now I'm not fine. So give me my space. And then after I sit either like on my phone or I watch something, and then I come down from that whole emotional roller coaster, then I'm like, okay.
I can give you perspective on that.
Right.
Because I'm the person that needs space if there's a disagreement.
Yes.
And actually, there's like a scientific thing that goes on with your brain, that when you get so overwhelmed with emotions, you lose ability in your frontal lobe to be rational and actually think clearly. So if they almost say that's like you see red or your head flips, whatever the case may be. And once I get to that point, for me, what you say, even in moments of rage, you can't take back. And then it leaves the other person thinking, like, do they actually mean it or see me in that way? And you can't take it back. Like, the damage is done, like fully done. So I like to remove myself, not to create like a sense of like I'm leaving you, but for me to actually talk myself down and be like, okay, what is it that you are actually angry about? And like address the situation at hand. And what did you do wrong in that situation that you can go back and apologize for? once you don't have that clarity and it starts like going, oh, you did this, I did this, then you start like point scoring. And then you lose sight of what it is that you were actually irritated about in the first place. And it just gets so much bigger than you can contain in that moment. So that's why I feel like space is important and like self-soothing is important, whether it's like literally saying you're safe, you're an adult, like nothing is wrong, this is the situation, or like breathing. Because I also learned like your mind can gaslight
Yes.
the F out of you. And if you're not aware or conscious of what you do, um, because it can be like an instance where somebody or your partner does something to you and it's like, oh, they never consider me. They're always doing these things. And then I have to find myself literally saying, but no, that's not right, because they have considered you. They always do A, B, and C. And then you start talking yourself down off that ledge. So I think you have to be really aware of your feelings and in tune with what's going on.
Now that you say that, though, I think what's difficult, or what I feel like, also, again, I'm talking about from an Indian home, but I know it might happen in like different sort of homes, is I don't know if people have seen their parents go through a fight and then reconcile properly. Because reconciliation sometimes is like, do you want a cup of tea?
That's such a common.
And then if the mother and then if the father says yes and the mother makes it, then you know the fight is over. It's not like actually, I'm sorry. And then it just keeps getting buried.
That's a good point. Because I don't think it's a common thing to
apologize.
This is something I struggle with.
Yeah.
And I struggled with while living with my partner, is apologizing. It's almost like poison is leaving my throat, because he is the one that apologizes all the time. I don't know what it's almost like it's ego, right?
Yeah.
I know it's ego of me saying like, I didn't do anything wrong. What do you want me to apologize for? Like, you apologize. But I think that especially in a relationship, you shouldn't want to win a fight with your partner.
That's true. That's so true.
Because you're living with, and it was something that I saw, you're living with, if you win the fight, then you're living with a partner that's then defeated.
Yes.
And do you want a defeated partner
Oh.
with you? Because then obviously they're not going to give you their best, and it's just going to like build and build and build.
But it's also, that's exactly that. Like, when you are a couple, or when you're married, or when you move in together, or just in a relationship, you guys are on the same team.
That's it.
You're not on opposing teams, and you need to work together as a team. But I know also, again, I was brought up where we are meant to like be these independent women, where it's like, if your partner does something, you can up and leave.
Yeah.
Or you're financially stable, so if someone screws up, you can like pack your bags and go. But why is it always looked at so harshly? Like, I still am trying to like figure that out.
Because we say unconditional love.
But is it really?
But we don't mean unconditional love.
Yes.
Because unconditional love means that even when your partner like messes up unintentionally, depending on the severity of whatever it is,
to have boundaries still, right? And know what your boundaries are,
but giving your partner grace as well, because you would want that in return.
Yes.
Because we are also figuring it out. And like I said, there's days where you show up as the healed version of yourself, where you are self-aware and you know how to handle the situation and it goes all according to plan. And there are days where you just triggered so badly that it just goes beyond your control and the unhinged version of you shows up. But I think that's the beauty of like the healing journey, is like not every day is the same. And it's about just trying to put yourself back on track. But I think for me, one of the things with living with your partner is, and I don't know how maybe you've navigated it, is trying to still keep a relationship without feeling like roommates.
I think with that, you have to be intentional. And still, and I know it's cliche to say, like, always remember that you guys are still dating. I know there are those days where you both just sit on the couch on your phones and not even talking to each other. But in that situation, it's to try to either set a day. And I know it seems like a chore and a task to sometimes do that, and you feel like, oh, we're not being spontaneous. But passion and that spontaneousness that you should have comes from also the planning. When you are a working professional, you have family to look after, you need to juggle like your normal day-to-day lives and then still have time for yourself. So I think for me, there's days like I know you said you like to do the grocery shopping on your own.
Yeah.
But like Sunday for me is like we're going grocery shopping. And it's like the little things that we appreciate in each other. So like I look for the date code. Like I'm so pedantic about dates. So it's like a whole outing.
Oh my god.
So now I'm like, can you take the one from the back? Because I get so pedantic where like I know people take milk and then leave it somewhere else.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know how long it's there for, and then it's coming back into the fridge. So like my OCD as well
Kicks
in, and I'm like, I need this to be. And so the one thing I can say is that I have a very, very patient someone. I went to the salon the other day, and he was waiting with me. And the hairdresser was Indian, and she's like, oh, is he, like, he's here, is he, like, do you need to go? Like, do you need to rush? Like, it's not going to take... And I'm like, no, I cannot even relate to you because I have the most patient. And that heals childhood trauma for me because I was always like, rush, come, let's go. Like, I would have instances where family members will wait in the car for you.
And hoot.
Because you're still getting ready. Instead of trying to understand, okay, maybe this is what's taking them long or whatever. Because, like, you are late all the time. But it's like me phoning you and be like, where the hell are you? Why are you not? Like, that's so triggering because I know you're already late. You're probably already flustered.
Yeah.
For whatever reason it is. And it's just, I get treated so differently in that instance. It's like, come, let's go. Do you need this done? Do you need that done? But it's like, I think living together, what's important is for men to start tapping into their feminine energy. I think it's so important for them to balance the both because that's what we also need as women, to be seen in that light, through your feminine light.
And it's something we discussed previously. But I'm starting to see it from like the male perspective. The more I'm trying to have grace for my partner and empathy for my partner, is that yes, as women, even on social media, there's all these demands. Oh, your man should be doing A, B, and C, and he needs to fulfill your emotional needs, and he needs... No, he doesn't. He really does not. You need to do that for your damn self. Because nobody's going to consider you the way you will consider yourself. Nobody is going to fulfill you the way you know you need to be fulfilled. And putting that expectation on your partner, which I did, especially when we moved in, because I went through a lot of grief into when because we moved in and it was like starting a new job, death after death after death. And now you're figuring out your grief journey, you're figuring out living with your partner. And I expected so much of him to heal me, which was so unfair. It really was challenging. But from the male perspective, they go from a home. You either have a critical mother who is like, you need to do A, B, and C, like have a bath on time, or like childhood stuff. You need your hair to be cut, your clothes need to be, or maybe you have a critical dad that's like, you need to be A, B, and C. Then you move in with your partner, who then becomes like the critical mother.
Yes.
Why are you leaving your things lying around the house? Why are you not washing the dishes? When do we create the safe space for our partners to be their authentic selves.
That's true. But that being said as well, I think sometimes men who get babied in their homes
That's true.
come into like the new environment. And then it's like, also you talk about like leaving your stuff lying around, but it's also your house too.
Yes.
So you should also want it to be clean
Yes.
and tidy. There's like, I think, a basic level of hygiene
I agree.
that like people should have. I guess there's pedantic levels, which I think I'm at that level. But then that compromise comes in. With like gym shoes, like I'm so pedantic about walking around in gym shoes, like in my bedroom.
I'm pedantic about shoes in general.
In
like,
the
you know
house,
this,
yes.
I hate having shoes in my home. Because why would you want to walk everywhere under the sun with your shoes and then bring that same dirt and energy into your home?
But you know, this is where like my partner makes me aware. I think also if you're too clean, then you don't actually allow your body to fight off what, because you need a certain level of like exposure to germs.
Yes, when you're outside.
Yes, but still I'm the kind of person that's sanitizing, wiping everything. I think COVID is like also traumatizing, but I was that way before COVID.
Before, yeah.
So yeah, it's a balance.
I agree. What surprised you most about living together?
I think what surprised me most was how nice it actually was. Like I thought sometimes you might feel like you are gonna miss like your old life. But like you create like a new sort of nucleus and a new family and home with your partner. Where like now if I had to go stay by my parents or go stay by like anyone else, I'm like, oh no, I want to go home. And that home is where your partner is, because it's like I struggle when they're not, and it's not like I'm not codependent. Like I can't live without, like in that situation, like I can't go out somewhere else, not to have like those daily rituals of like a tea in the evening after dinner together and just.
I unconsciously, if we're not together, like when we go to Durban, sometimes we separate our families home. Or houses rather. I unconsciously can still hear him calling me. I'm like, is he here? Because I can hear it. But yeah, so I know what you're saying. But how would, like, what advice would you give people that are in maybe a relationship to know when is the right time to move in with your partner?
So funny that you say that, because there's actually a statistic that came out to say that if you move in with your partner and you don't have the intention to a commitment, if you end up like married, or even if you're just long term with them, you end up breaking it off or you end up in a divorce. So I think when you're planning to move in with your partner, it might be like a spur of the moment thing, but try to be intentional about it and know that it's two lives coming together, and it's them and their experiences and you and your experiences, and actually sit and talk about it, because there's this notion of like it's cumbersome to communicate, but it really is the most fundamental thing, communication.
I struggled with that.
As human beings, it's just to talk about it.
It's because you go from like seeing each other when you set like dates, right? And you're all excited and like you have saved that excitement and the energy for the date. And then you get back home and then like you're WhatsApping, oh, it was like so great. Like I get to share my feelings. Oh my God. I struggled when we moved in because I don't know I'm getting better at it, but I don't know how to communicate my feelings or to say like how I'm really feeling face to face, eye to eye. I get so uncomfortable. I get so giddy. But I think living together has brought out a side where I'm more comfortable in sharing how I feel. And it's also pushed me to have the more difficult conversations that we normally tend to shy away from, like finances, who pays for what, like responsibilities, being honest with your partner, like where do I actually, or how do I rate this relationship at this moment, and why am I giving it this, and how can we show up better, like actually doing like an audit
Yes.
of your relationship. So I feel like that's one of the benefits, but I think you also have to be willing to, yeah, learn those things about yourself and be a bit self-aware.
Relationships are hard work.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It is, you need to do those audits and you need to have those conversations, because I think social media has made it seem like if it should be easy, it should be effortless, and that's how you know it's the relationship, or that's how you know it's the one. It's not. It takes hard work every single day to stay together through everything.
I agree. It is work.
It's work.
And if you don't intentionally show up, you will get the shitty end of things all the time. And if you continue to do what you're doing all the time and you don't hold yourself accountable as well as much as you hold your partner accountable, it's going to be like the same thing. So I feel, for me, how I would give advice for people knowing when's the right time to move in together. Like I feel like you have to be dating for like more than a year. I haven't seen your partner angry. What are you doing moving in together?
No. I think a year, I don't know if I feel like a year is, again, I don't know. It depends on how long you know each other and the maturity of the actual relationship. And I guess it might work for some people. We can't just
dismiss it. Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, I think a year is still, you could potentially not know someone.
Yes. The honeymoon phase.
Yes.
Like you have to see someone angry and how people function in different
Yes.
like scenarios to know who they actually are to their core. Yeah, so maybe we can end it on a lighter note.
Yes.
Or maybe a shadier note. What are some of like the shady things that have been told to you that you're now living with your partner and not married?
I think one question that irks me to date is like, when are you getting married?
None of your goddamn business.
Are you getting married? Like, when's the wedding? I thought you guys would have been married by now. Or you should have kids. Or like, do you know how much of pressure? Like, firstly, we already know that. Like the kids thing, we know that women have a biological, all of that stuff. Like, you don't need to remind us. We're educated enough, I think, to know. So that still irks me. And it I know what I want, and I think if there's an understanding between you and your partner, then it's fine. But if you and your partner are on different pages and people are probing with those questions, it can also hurt your relationship
and create tension.
Yes.
I agree.
So
one of mine was I was living or am living in sin.
Oh.
I'll take the sin, right? I'm fine with it. I feel like only God literally can judge me, and I know our intentions are pure.
That's
for wanting to live together.
That is the thing.
Before marriage, because I think I always want to be intentional. Like marriage to me is a extremely big decision, and it's not something I take lightly. And I would only like to have one marriage. So being intentional about living together, building a solid foundation on what we already have now to function intentionally in a marriage and intentionally when we do have a family is so important to me. So I actually don't care how other people perceive it, to be honest. But hey, if I'm living in sin.
People in marriage are living in sin.
See you in hell.
We'll elaborate on this one. I think there's a lot of topics to
Yeah.
go into. It's just such a broad one. But yeah.
Coolio.
Oh,
Have you done those?
yes.